What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. Today I'll be taking a look at the entry list for the 2024 EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start and talk about the one car for Trackhouse Racing. This one's going to be driven by Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain's off to a pretty solid start in the 2024 season, and Ross Chastain historically has been a pretty solid road course racer as he won at this track back in 2022. I expect Ross Chastain to be the contender and a threat. Trackhouse Racing has been really great at this track since he started running here in 2021. I expect Ross Chastain to have a good run at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 2 car for Team Penske? This one's going to be driven by Austin Cindric. After a really strong start to the 2024 season, Cindric has fallen off a little bit, but we're going to type of track where he's ran good, but unfortunately, the Penske cars have struggled in recent years on the road courses. We'll see if Austin Cindric can bounce back and have a really good run. I'm not sure if he will have a good run this weekend, but let's see if he can bounce back at COTA. Up next, how about the 3 car for Richard Childress Racing? This one's going to be driven by Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's had a horrendous start to the 2024 season. He's been involved in incidents of 3 or 4 of the 5 races up to this point. He's just looking for a really good run. I don't even think he's scored a top 10, and he's only got 2 top 20s so far. He'll be looking to get his first top 10 of the 2024 season. We'll see if he can get it done at COTA. Up next, how about the 4 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This one's going to be driven by Josh Berry. Josh Berry's coming off of having his best run of the 2024 season, finishing in 12th, but running in the top 10 and top 5 a lot of the day. Josh Berry, though, has been a little hit or miss on road courses back in the Xfinity Series days, and especially if SHR struggling on road courses, I don't expect Josh Berry to run really good this weekend. He could prove me wrong and run good, but to be honest with you, I'm not expecting much from Josh Berry this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is definitely one of the better road course racers in the field. He's won 3 or 4 road courses in his NASCAR Cup Series career, but I believe has not won a race since 2021. And historically, he actually won Watkins Glen in 22, so that's not really true. But Kyle Larson has been pretty solid on road courses. He's one of the favorites going into this week and also ran the Xfinity Series race earlier in the week. I expect Kyle Larson to have a decent chance and an opportunity to compete for the victory this weekend. Up next, how about the 6 car for RFK Racing? This one's going to be driven by Brad Keselowski. When Brad Keselowski started in Cup, he was great at road courses, but it seems like in the last couple years, Brad Keselowski's kind of struggled a little bit. He did have a great run at Bristol, finishing in 3rd, so he does have a lot of momentum, but I'm not really expecting him to set the world on fire this weekend. RFK's been hit or miss on road courses, though Chris Buescher, for some reason, always finishes in the top 10. We'll see how Brad Keselowski can do and see if he can run good this weekend at COTA. Up next, how about the 7 car for Spire Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie's had a decent start to the 2024 season, but he's not been really great at road courses, so I'm not really expecting much from Corey LaJoie this weekend, unfortunately. Spire, I think, will have some good pacer speed, especially in the truck race, but I don't think Corey LaJoie will run good this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing? This one's going to be driven by Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has been pretty good at Circuit of the Americas in the past, including finishing in runner-up in 2023. While he's had a couple races that have not gone as well, I do expect that Kyle Busch will be a threat to win. RCR has worked on trying to make their road course program a lot better, and we'll see if Kyle Busch can use some of that momentum and run really good this weekend at Circuit of the Americas in the A car for RCR. Up next, how about the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one's going to be driven by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's been a little bit iffy in the next-gen era at road courses, but he has shown a lot of pace where I think he did win the Charlotte Roval or had a chance to win the Charlotte Roval a couple years ago. And while I don't think he's won a next-gen road course race yet, he certainly is always at the top of the list because of how much speed the Hendrick Motorsports cars bring. So I do expect that Chase Elliott will have a good chance and opportunity. He's shown a lot more pace the last couple weeks. We'll see if that can lead Chase Elliott to having a good run in the number 9 car. Up next, how about the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This one's going to be driven by Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson has, unfortunately, not a great run at Bristol Motor Speedway after having 3 previous races where he ran really good, but he did have a decent run last time we were here at Circuit of the Americas. But I'm worried because, let's be honest, like I mentioned earlier with Josh Berry, we've seen the SHR cars struggle in recent seasons. So unfortunately, while I think Noah Gragson showed improvement this year, I don't expect him to run really good this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, top of the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. This will once again be driven by Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's coming off of winning last week at Bristol Motor Speedway and has been a little bit iffy on road courses in recent years. On one hand, he's qualified really good at them, but has not been able to finish and contend for victories in recent seasons. And unfortunately, I think Denny Hamlin may have, sadly, some bad luck this weekend. We'll see, though, if he can turn the corner and have another win, maybe get a second straight victory this weekend at COTA. Up next, how about the 12th car for Team Penske? This will once again be driven by Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, outside of last week at Bristol, he's had a really good start to the year. And he has qualified up front and won the pole at this track a few seasons ago. I do think that Ryan Blaney will have a decent chance and opportunity at the Penske cars getting fast, but unfortunately I am worried about the Team Penske cars this year. We'll see what Ryan Blaney can do to see if he can contend, but I'm not really sure he will run absolutely fantastic. Up next, how about the 13 car for Kaulig Racing? This will be driven by AJ Allmendinger. It will be the first time the 13 car has been on the racetrack. AJ will be making his third or fourth start of the 2024 season, and I think AJ, if they can't get up to speed and par, I think he will have a really good chance and opportunity to contend for the victory. He nearly won here back in 2022, had a solid car in 2023. I think he'll have a good opportunity. We could see other drivers like Matt Benedetto get a chance and opportunity this year as well, and that's seen maybe by the end of year other drivers, but AJ Allmendinger will be behind the wheel of his 13 car this weekend. Up next, how about the 14 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This will once again be driven by Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe's been hit or miss on road courses in the last couple of years, but to his credit, he has been good at Circuit Americas in the past. So I do think if they can bring the pace and speed, I think that Chase Briscoe could be the lone signing star of Stewart-Haas Racing this weekend. We'll see if that number 14 car can run good. I'm not sure, though, if he is going to run fantastic this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing? This will once again be driven by Kaz Grala. Kaz Grala is coming off of having a pretty impressive run at Bristol, finishing inside the top 20. And he has been a pretty good road course racer in the past. So he's definitely on the odds on him, the lower shot of having a chance to win. But he could be a really long shot favorite to go and get the victory this weekend. Rick Ware Racing shown a lot of improvement, and I think that could lead to Kaz Grala having a solid run this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 16 car for Kaulig Racing? This will be the first time we'll see Shane Van Gisbergen behind the wheel of the number 16 car. Yes, this is a Kaulig Racing entry because, of course, he drives full-time for Kaulig and Xfinity, but this car will be prepared, from my understanding, from Trackhouse Racing. And we know SVG is a really strong road course racer. So I think SVG is going to be one of the favorites going into the weekend, and I think that Shane Van Gisbergen with the WeatherTech colors, I think he will have a very good run this weekend at Circuit Americas in the number 16 car. Up next, how about the 17 car for RFK Racing? This will once again be driven by Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher's actually been pretty good at road courses in the last couple of years, especially in the next-gen era. He's had a lot of top 10s and even a couple top 5s up to this point. And he's been solid to start off the 2024 season. I think that Chris Buescher is an outside favorite for the weekend. I do think he's got a good chance, though, and we'll see if Chris Buescher can run really good with RFK this weekend at COTA. Up next, how about the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This will once again be driven by Martin Truex Jr. Last week at Bristol, Martin Truex Jr. got his first top 5 finish in nearly 16 races, which the last time he did that was on a road course. Martin Truex Jr. has been a little hit or miss on road courses since the next-gen era, but I do think he's improved at least a little bit, though I am a little worried about Joe Gibbs Racing in some essences going into this weekend. But we'll see if Martin Truex Jr. can provide the speed and be up front this weekend at Circuit of the Americas in the 19. Up next, how about the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This will once again be driven by Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell's off to a pretty solid start in 2024, having quite a few top 10s, and even some top 5s, and even a win so far this season. And Christopher Bell has already won a road course race in his career, going back to 2022 at the Charlotte Roval. I think Christopher Bell will have a solid chance and opportunity if the Joe Gibbs Racing cars are fast. We'll see if Christopher Bell can have a good run in the 20. Up next, how about the 21 car for the Wood Brothers? This will once again be driven by Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton's off to a very rough start in 2024, and he needs to really turn the corner if he's going to keep his seat long term. He's outside the top 30 in points right now and is in the lower half of the standings. He needs to turn the corner really quickly, otherwise he may lose a seat by the end of the year if he can't turn the corner. Up next, how about the 22 car for Team Penske? This will once again be driven by Joey Logano. Joey Logano is in the panic mode right now. He's only had one top 10 finish to start the season, and right now is almost outside the top 30 in points, so he did move inside the top 30 and is currently 26. He needs to show a little more speed going into the rest of the year. I'm worried about this weekend because we know the Penske cars have struggled on the road courses in recent seasons. We'll see if Joey Logano can turn it around and have a good run at COTA. Up next, how about the 23 car for 23XI Racing? This will once again be driven by Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, a few years ago, struggled with the road courses, but I think he's improved in the last couple of seasons. And while I don't think Bubba Wallace is a favorite to win this weekend, I certainly think he does have a chance and an opportunity to maybe get a top 10. We've seen him improve since Tyler Reddick got over there, and Kurt Busch has been over there to help as well. We'll see if Bubba Wallace can have a good run, and I think he will have a pretty good run this weekend at Circuit Americas in the 23. Up next, how about the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This will once again be driven by William Byron. William Byron's been a pretty good road racer over the course of the last couple of years. Remember, he had a really strong car at the Charlotte Roval, almost won there, and also won at Watkins Glen as well last season. I think that William Byron's one of the favorites. He had one of the fastest cars here last year, and I do believe he will be a major threat to get it done this weekend in the 24. We'll see if he has the raw pace and speed. I think he will have a good chance and opportunity to win this weekend. Up next, how about the 31 car for Kaulig Racing? This will once again be driven by Daniel Hemric. It has been a mediocre season so far for Daniel Hemric in 2024. He has not had a lot of good runs. I think he might have only one top 10 this season and has been very inconsistent. He needs to really start showing a little more pace and speed, but he probably won't be going anywhere because he does have sponsorship and funding. Up next, how about the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated road racers in the field, and of course, he did win at the Indy Road Course last year. I think Michael McDowell might be one of the favorites going into this race. He's shown some good speed and pace so far in 2024, has some top 15s and a couple top 10s. I think Michael McDowell will be a solid threat and contender, and I think he could have a good run this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 38 car for Front Row Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland has had an okay start to the year. He's led a lot of laps this year, but unfortunately finishes have not reflected on that. He's shown a lot of improvement, though, throughout the season. He is a pretty decent road course racer. He did win at COTA in the Truck Series back in 2021. I do think that Todd Gilliland will be not a favorite, but I think he will have a chance and opportunity to maybe get a top 15. Up next, how about the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? This will once again be driven by Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece has been off to a very, very bad start in 2024. After a not great year last year, I thought he would show improvement, but right now it's not been great for him. And he needs to start showing a little more improvement. And I'm worried it's not going to happen because the SHR cars have not been great on road courses. Hopefully, Ryan Preece can turn the corner and have a good run this weekend with SHR at COTA. Up next, how about the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek had a really good run last week at Bristol, getting his first top 10 of the 2024 season, and is currently in the playoffs right now in 15th, which is really impressive. He's also a pretty decent road racer, so I do think he has a chance and opportunity for a good run. Let's see if John Hunter can continue the good momentum this weekend at COTA. Up next, how about the 43 car for Legacy Motor Club? This will once again be driven by Eric Jones. Eric Jones has been a little iffy on road courses in the last couple of years, but he's off to a pretty solid start this year. He's had a couple good performances, has gotten some top 15s this year, and I think he's even got an occasional top 10 up to this point. He's looking to continue the really strong start to this season, and we'll see if Eric Jones can improve throughout the rest of the year. Up next, how about the 45 car for 23XI Racing? This will once again be driven by Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick is the defending winner at this racetrack and probably one of the odds-on favorites. We know he's a really great road racer, and a lot of people are already picking him going into this weekend because he is the defending winner at this track. We know that 23XI's gotten better on the road course program. We'll see if Tyler Reddick can have a very good performance this weekend at Circuit of the Americas, and I think he's going to have a chance to win. Up next, how about the 47 car for JTG Doherty? This will once again be driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has had a solid start to the 2024 season, but unfortunately I don't expect Stenhouse to be great because he has not been great on road courses throughout his NASCAR Cup Series career. I think he might get a top 30, but that's probably about it, and hopefully that won't deter him from making the playoffs this season in that number 47 car for JTG Doherty. Up next, how about the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports? This one once going to be driven by Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman had a very, very good run last week at Bristol, finishing inside the top 5, and he got his second top 5 of the season. He needs to continue running this good. I am a little worried about COTA, but he has shown some good pace at COTA in the past. He almost won in 2022, so it does give me a little confidence. If you're an Alex Bowman fan, it could lead to him having a good run. We'll see if Alex Bowman can have a good run this weekend in the 48 car. Up next, how about the 50 car for 2311 Racing? This is going to be the first of 3 races that the 50 car shows up, and it will be driven by Kamui Kobayashi this weekend. It's also expected to have a couple other drivers behind the wheel, maybe someone like a Kurt Busch coming out of retirement, maybe Carl Levert's coming in at some point, who knows? Maybe Corey Heim or Sheldon Creed or Eric Omroll could get a chance and opportunity at some point as well. But Kamui Kobayashi will make his second start in his NASCAR Cup Series career. We'll see if he can run good in the 50 this weekend. Up next, how about the 51 car for Rick Ware Racing? This one once going to be driven by Justin Haley. Justin Haley's been off to a pretty decent start this year. I know his finishes have not shown the speed, but he's had top 10 and top 15 speed at points this year. And with the college racing experience he's had the last couple of years, I think he could get another top 20. We'll see what Justin Haley can do. We'll see if he can continue a really solid performance he had last week at Bristol. We'll see if he can run good this weekend at Circuit of the Americas. Up next, how about the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? This is once going to be driven by Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs is off to a very, very good start in 2024. He's had 4 top 10 finishes so far, and has had the best average finish of anybody in the field so far this season. And he's very close to winning. He's going to have a chance to win the Xfinity Series race the day before, but I do think that Ty Gibbs is absolutely a favorite. I think he's due for a win. It could happen this weekend with how good of a road course racer Ty Gibbs is. Up next, how about the 66 car for MBM Motorsports? They're back in the Cup Series for the first time in 2 years, and Timmy Hill will be getting behind the wheel. This team will have to worry about owner's points going into the event. See how much pace and speed they had. The last time they ran anything, Borisov was behind the wheel, if I'm not mistaken. So it's the first time that this team has shown up in the last couple of seasons in the 66. Up next, how about the 71 car for Spire/Trackhouse? This will once again be driven by Zane Smith. Zane Smith is off to one of the worst starts for a rookie we've seen in a long time. He's only had 1 top 10 finish, and the other finishes have been outside the top 30. He needs to turn the season around. Luckily for him, we're going to a track where he's been good in the Truck Series. He's gotten 2 wins there. I think that Zane Smith could have a chance to perform better. He needs to bounce back this weekend. Hopefully Zane Smith can do that with Trackhouse and Spire this weekend, because it's been a little bit of a rough start so far in 2024 for him. Up next, how about the 77 car for Spire Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar had a little bit of disappointing performance last week at Bristol, which is a shame because Carson Hocevar has had a very good season so far for rookie Sanders. He's been the strongest rookie in my opinion so far. I think Carson Hocevar will do decent. He's been pretty decent on road courses in the past, but I'm not sure if he's going to run great because Spire's been a little hit or miss on road courses, but we'll see if Carson Hocevar can prove how much talent he has as a race car driver. And finally, let's talk about the 99 car for Trackhouse Racing. This will once again be driven by Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez is a pretty good road racer. He won a Sonoma in 2022, and he did win Atlanta earlier this year, and he's been good at road courses over the last couple seasons as well. I think he's an underdog to win this race, but I certainly do think if they can bring the pace or speed, I think that Daniel Suarez could have a chance and opportunity to win. So we'll see what Daniel Suarez can do and see if he can run really good and maybe contend for a second victory of the 2024 season. So, that is the entry list for the 2024 EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts on today's video. Who'd you really pick to win at COTA? Let me know your pick in the comments below. Later today on the channel, I'll have the Xfinity Series entry list for Circuit Americas. Tomorrow, I'm going to have the Truck Series race picks dropping early in the morning. I'm going to have a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. And I'm also going to have the Xfinity Series race picks dropping later in the day as well. And then on Thursday, I'm going to have NASCAR Cup Series race picks for COTA. And also going to have the Paints Camp preview dropping as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.